And I'm gonna be straight up. There's a lot of people who are under the conception that the white man does not have a soul.
And the reason I made this statement, 85% of white people have no soul, is because, you know, a lot of in there, you know, a statement was made, you know, what about white people that march with us and protest with us? And you know, when people say, oh, not all white people are like that, yeah, that little funky 15%, but that's not enough. You still got the 85% of their race is still savage life out to kill you. So with that being said, when we dealing with the Caucasian not having no soul, you have to understand in order to possess the cosmic essence, you have to have melanin, a specific component of melanin, being neuromelanin, the one with the N, not the E. Caucasians only have pheomelanin, which is animal melanin. They cannot get above the animal plane conscious level. You see animals kill, a lion will kill you and don't lose no sleep. A gorilla will kill you, don't lose no sleep. A cobra will kill you, don't lose no sleep. The Caucasian is killing us and don't lose no sleep because they are physically composed of the same melanin phenotype of animals.
Ladies and gentlemen, ich tanze mit Arthur Conley!
Do you like good music? That's so beautiful.
A man fills many roles in his lifetime. Provider, protector, master of the house. As a father, you have a vital role in your family's life. They depend on you to be there. We help to make sure you can fulfill that promise because no matter what they call you, at the end of the day, you know you're just Dad.
Are black musicians genetically better than white musicians? Get me in trouble.
Not better, but they play different. White musicians seem to lag behind the beat. You know, I don't know why.
Does black musicians hurt more?
What do you mean hurt more?
I mean, is it?
It's not that cliche.
I mean, it's not that easy to say that because you came out of slavery, you play on the beat.
No. It had nothing to do with it.
All right.
I told a student teacher of mine like that in Juilliard. She started talking about, well, you know, black people were despondent at night, and they say that's where the blues came from. So I raised my hand. I said, listen, my father's rich, my mama's good looking, right? And I can play the blues. I never suffered and don't intend to suffer.
I think when musicians play and they just hit that moment where they just sit in it for a long time, that's when they really get a groove. Sometimes they search for it, and then all of a sudden it'll just happen, and then they'll just be riding it, you know. I mean, I've seen Parliament and George Clinton get in a groove and sit for 30 minutes. Just, you know.
Following the Black Lives Matter moment, let's say, it suddenly switched to race. And there were lots of bulletins proclaiming support for Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter organisation. On the intranet, in various groups, there was like a diversity group, etc. There was stuff like reading lists being sent out, and all of it was very much influenced by Black Lives Matter and critical race theory. Okay, and it was coming from a position where they were like things like white fragility, Robin DeAngelis, and all this kind of stuff. From all of that, right? White people have this like original sin of racism. Black people are victims. That's the basic position, and we must atone for our sins. And for a start, I mean, I didn't go to work for that anyway. I won't do my job. Right? Yeah. I don't want that stuff. But then they announced that they had this race network where people that work at ACAS could join this race network. And there are networks across the civil service: women's network, race network, faith network, all these things. And the function of it, I think, was to help advise the upper echelons of the organisation about internal and what they do outside in relation to race, etc. Then one day there was an announcement from a colleague sent to all staff that they were going to start a new race network, which would be for black members of staff only, right? And I commented on this. I asked for a rationale. What was the rationale? What's the reasoning behind that? So we're an integrated organisation. We have a race network. It's made up of for anybody that wants to join it to engage in dialogue about race issues and to feed that up.
Then Dr. King come along, right?
Right.
Dr. King say, at first they started out saying, we got our own neighborhood. We got our own stores. We want equal protection. We want y'all to stop coming burning our stuff down like y'all done Wall Street.
Right.
We want equal justice. Equal protection, equal rights, and equal justice under the law is what the right started out becoming. They went and found a dynamic preacher who could speak real good, and they changed the narrative to integration, segregation, desegregation. Let's go join them, Dr. King said. That's when we lost. Let's go join them. Let's go eat at their restaurants. Let's ride they bus. Let's go to they schools. That's what we started fighting for. So when they said, okay, y'all can eat at our restaurants, we go take the signs down. Oh, yay. We stopped eating at Mud Hill, John, and started going over there across the railroad track eating it there. So now Mud Hill and them, Big Shirley and them opening up their spots, but we don't want to eat at their spots. The white folks wasn't fighting to eat at our places. We was fighting to abandon our businesses. We didn't want to go to our school. We felt go to their school because Dr. King said, let's go join them.
Should we be judging people based on the content of their character and not the color of their skin?
No, you need the color of skin is very important.
By the way, do you agree with her?
Yes, she does. I have a black son. I don't want my son come home with no white woman. At all. He know better.
Do you tell him that?
Yes!
How old's your son?
21.
And he's not allowed to date?
He could date who he want, but they can't come in my house. And I'm not gonna have no parts of it. I don't want no mixed babies. I want a black baby, grandchild. That's what I want.
Why is it not okay to be white?
Y'all have, the race as a people, y'all have done too much. I would rather be, as a whole.
And it's a group of people.
Too much good or too much bad?
Too much bad.
The majority is not.
It's like bottom of the barrel, really.
There's a head of diversity and inclusion, who's a woman, white woman. She's the head of it all, right? So what is the rationale behind saying we're going to have a black-only group? And then they said one for allies. And I questioned it. I said, what's all that about? What do you need that for? What is your rationale? What's your thinking behind it? And I also commented, I said, like, I wouldn't want to be part of a group that said my son or my wife can't be a member of because of their ethnicity, colour of the skin. And, you know, vice versa. Can you explain? And
just to make it clear, your wife's black, isn't she?
Wife's black, yeah. Now, I was like, how black do you have to be to join one group? And how unblack do you have to be to join the other? You know, would Ramar Bearden, if Ramar Bearden turned up, would you allow him in, or would you have to do like a hair test, like we did in South Africa, you know, about identification? How are you going to work it? And apparently...
Yeah, so basically, you were heretically questioning this ideology.
Yeah, separate.
Basically, what you started to do, just questioning it.
They're real good at violence.
Violence. Genocide.
It's like stealing people's lives just because they feel like it. If you are white and you know this is happening and you say nothing, then you're a killer too.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Insecurity. Pretending.
Fear.
Being fearful of nothing.
Being ignorant.
Blame.
Letting their egos control their every move. Superior at being
But what else do you want? What do you call it? If you don't want to call it segregation, what is it? It's separating people on the basis of race. That's separatism and segregation, right? The other thing that I've done was send certain information to the chief executive of ACAS, Susan Clues, and the race network managerial lot. I'd sent them various, like, for example, a link to Theory of Enchantment. There's a woman called Chloe Valdari who has she's American, does diversity training over there, but completely different from...
Yeah, I know who she is. Brilliant stuff, yeah.
Based in Martin Luther King's teaching.
Yeah.
That's how he does it. He said, look, there's another way of looking at this. I'm not saying don't give us the Black Lives Matter critical race theory stuff. Say what you want. You're free to share your perspective. Come on here and, you know, recommend the philosophies of Marcus Garvey if you want. Send us, you know, a link to tell us what you think about Louis Farrakhan. That's fine. But there's other ways of looking at it, and we need to be able to share those. And it led to me making some posts in the area of the intranet where we are invited to do so. So I put up some posts. I put a link to a biography of Howard Thurman, mystic, theologian, mentor to Martin Luther King. His lineage as well, very interesting. Olive Schreiner, that he was influenced by his meetings with Mahatma Gandhi. Non-violence as a way of life, not just a tactic. Very difficult to adhere to. All this stuff. So let's have a look at this. And then I sent some articles by various. Happened actually, just coincidentally, 3 women of Nigerian descent. An article by Inaya Falarin Iman, who interviewed me for the Equiana project.
Yeah.
Aisha Akambi, and it was about truth and belonging sometimes being incompatible. And they didn't. I had a picture of her and a quote, and talked about her and said how she articulates so much of what I think and believe better than I can. And then there was a link to something that Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie wrote. And all of a sudden, one day, I came into work and I was told to take all these posts down. Complaint had been put in against me by 4 members of staff in London that had never met me. I'm in Leeds. So for the viewers that are perhaps around the world, 250 miles away, they never met me. They didn't know anything about me, apart from my profile picture, which is just like this, my mush, my face. And they put this complaint in. And then I would argue, which we will do in April when we go back to court, that it was completely mishandled, etc., etc. It went forward to a formal grievance which means that the very most senior people in the organisation saw their witness statement and their complaint, took it seriously, which yeah, we do, but investigated it and decided to proceed with a grievance against me, which ultimately wasn't upheld, but still I had to go through all of that process. And to this day, I'm not allowed to put these posts back up. Now, the most disturbing thing really is that the complainant put together this statement, and when I read it, I was shown part of it. I wasn't shown all of it. And when we asked to see all of it, firstly we were told you can't because it's part of a formal grievance. But then later on we were told that they thought it might be detrimental to my mental health. My employer knows that I suffer from anxiety and depression. They make reasonable adjustments at work for me. During this time, my line manager was really worried about my well-being. I was in a pretty bad way. And bearing in mind, this came out in court that when I was 22, 23, I took an overdose. No, I tried.
I'm going to talk about the pineal gland. Now, if you don't know what it is, it's literally a gland inside your brain. Alright? It's a gland inside your brain. And everyone wants to know what a third eye is. So, in order to have a third eye, you must decalcify your pineal gland, which basically means open it up, make sure nothing's blocking your pineal gland, and then your third eye will start to open. What fluoride does is it calcifies your pineal gland. It literally, fluoride blocks off your pineal gland. All right, fluoride is terrible for you. If you're drinking a bunch of fluoride water, you're gonna have a calcified pineal gland. Now that you know what a pineal gland is, all right, now that you know that a pineal gland is directly linked to a third eye. And now let's talk about white people. Alright, so this is strictly about Caucasians, no other race, about if Caucasians have a soul. And I'm not talking about Asians, Mexicans, none of that. Alright, so just white people. Full on, if you're 100% Caucasian, this will tell you about you. Alright, so here's a screenshot of the evidence that I found. Boom! Alright, here's a screenshot of the evidence, the research from what I did. Alright, here's a screenshot. And if you want to read the whole thing, cool, go ahead. But the main part that I want to point out from that screenshot is that it says 60 to 80% of Caucasians have a calcified pineal gland. That means 60 to 80% of Caucasians are born with a calcified pineal gland and they can't be calcified. 60 to 80% of Caucasians cannot develop a pineal gland. 60 to 80% of Caucasians are born without a pineal gland. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, a pineal gland is directly linked to your third eye. So if they have a calcified pineal gland, that means that they can't open the third eye. They don't have one, alright? So 60 to 80% of Caucasians don't have a third eye. Because if you have a calcified pineal gland, you don't have a third eye. So that means 60 to 80% of Caucasians don't have a third eye. And if you don't have a third eye, that's directly linked to your soul. Because if you can't open your third eye, if it's physically impossible for you to open your third eye, you're not going to be able to have a soul inside your body. A soul will not go into a body that cannot open its third eye, okay? A soul will not reincarnate into a body that physically cannot open its third eye. So with this knowledge, basically to sum it all up and to keep it short, 60 to 80% of Caucasians do not have a soul, okay? Straight up, that's what I believe from that research, from the research I've done. The screenshots are right here, so you know I'm not just whipping it, the 60 to 80% out of my butt, alright? This isn't no fake information. I'm not pulling from the clouds.